are in this division and what you feel you needed to do?
Yes. Well, but it definitely, I think you listen to everybody talk about it. We're very aware of the challenges we have in our division in the center of the line. It has everything to do with when you make somebody the highest paid player in the NFL, you'd like to have something in front of him. And so that's kind of cute talk, but it's really fact talk. We're interested in really making sure we had the kind of protection and, frankly, if you will, the ability to move the big guys out. That was a big part of the thinking in my vernacular. Coach, I'm going to let you jump in on this one.
Yeah, I think when you looked at it, we were, number one, thrilled about the young man, the power, the strength. When you sit down and you visit with this guy, he's an alpha. He knows what he wants. He knows how good he is. He knows how talented he is. And I think you look at what you got with Tyler Smith at left guard, Cooper Beebe, and now you add this guy. The interior of your pocket, the core of your run game, all that stuff inside. We want to move people, and we want to own the line of scrimmage, and this is a guy that gives us a chance to do that with the pieces we have in place.
Steven, same question from Dave.
No, I just think it's, I think Jerry said it best.
What?
What about it?
I was wondering, is that you? Is that something on inside?
Jerry said it best.
No. Man, I didn't know you were that hoarse.
I'm hoarse. I'm staying alive, though. No, but Jerry did say it best. If you look at our division, I mean, we've got some really top defensive tackles in our division, and we understand that, and not going to be able to move them around now. You're either going to pick Tyler Smith or Tyler Booker. So good luck, and we like our guy, and he was, he's just a hell of a solid pick, and he's going to be a great player. I don't want to talk for Coach. He makes those decisions, but can't imagine he doesn't walk in here day one and start for us.
Will, curiously, again, this is a lot of answer to that question, David. But, Will, what I was impressed with is the rehearsal that we did yesterday to address the exact situation that we were sitting there with and going over in the debate between the players on our board that were there.
Yeah,
and it was unbelievable that we had spent 30 minutes on it, an hour on it yesterday, just like if we were sitting right there in the draft room, played out. So we had a real good feeling about the qualities of Booker and aired out real good about what it could do for this team and what he brought to the team. And I don't think we've ever hit one just right on the money like we practiced on yesterday.
It did come down like that a few times as we were going through scenarios.
You had him there at 12, the way the scenarios worked out that you were.
Yes, well, the way what was there, we didn't get the trade. We didn't get a trade. We were there. Nolan's on the board. Booker sitting there. I'm just saying, and what's best for this team, what is unanimous, and well, I'll tell you what, we had that one nailed. We were, and Stephen will get into that if we can hear him. He'll get into it seriously. But we had a good plan to trade out if we had takers or had offers to trade out. So that was a part of the plan. But boy, we really had, again, I'm sorry not to give you a straight answer, but this guy is such a leadership person and such a dynamic person in his approach to football as a leader of a team within a team, the offensive line. So that really caused him to get our attention yesterday when we were looking at his likelihood or the possibility of him being there.
I'm going to move this way. There you go. Clarence Hill, Dallas Cowboys. I got a couple of questions. First, you talk about the trade.
And I know we saw Shadi point out the time. I don't know if you felt y'all running out of time, but did you have a trade you were working? Was there something in the works that just didn't go through at that time before you picked Booker? Or where were you guys on as far as you wanted to trade down? Were you actually talking to anyone?
Stephen was on the phone. We had exhausted the complete possibilities of trade. We had finality of it, and we still had 2 or 3 minutes left on the phone. We didn't. The trade did not work for us. We did not want to make the trade, and we immediately knew when we got through that we would make the pick. And so, yes, real possibilities right up until 2 minutes before the bell rang.
No, we had hard offers for the pick, and unless it was the pick because we liked our player, unless it was a really significant trade, then we were going to pass.
Secondly, we talked to Shadi at the owners meeting combine about the type of player you want at 12. You talk about building from the outside in, and we have been exhausted about positional value and guards and going to that. What about him was so special that you overlooked all of that positional value to get the interior offensive lineman at 12?
Yeah, I think, when we looked at him, Mike, we feel that he's a immediate starter, a guy that's going to play for a long time at a very high level. He's a guy that can impose his will. He's a guy that's going to impact not just the offensive line, but the team. When you meet the young man and you're around him, the type of competitor he is, his personality. Again, you lose a guy like Zach, you don't have to replace him, but we felt like this is a guy that comes in immediately and fills a big void for us. And we're just beyond excited that we're able to get him.
Well, can you address?
Yeah, I mean, when you go in there, you look for starter type players, and he's a starting type guard. And the other thing that's interesting, Coach mentioned Zach. Well, I went back and looked at. I was talking to Steven. Our grades are very similar to what we had to Zach, and then some of the character traits. There's a lot of things that are very similar. He's his own individual, but he's a grown ass man like Zach is, and so you put someone in there that makes us a stronger, more physical team.
Jerry Todd Archer with ESPN. This helps Dak in the offensive line. How else do you guys have to help Dak maybe tomorrow in the next couple of days?
Well, unquestionably, I was motivated. We were motivated that it does help our quarterback. It helps our running game. We've had some experience with this. You look back when we had top players in our offensive line, and you look at the kind of success we had during those times, some of Dak's earlier career, when Zeke was here early. We give a lot of credit to the quality of that offensive line for having that kind of success. And that kind of success didn't get us a Super Bowl, but it had us around the rim a few times, having that kind of strength in the offensive line. And we need to play to our strengths. Dak's a strength. And so enhancing that makes all the sense in the world relative to comparing it to a receiver in the passing game for Dak. Makes all the sense in the world. If you think about it, it has some of the very same logic. It's both Dak friendly.
Will, I don't know if you looked at the 2026 draft, but are there any offensive linemen named Tyler out there?
If there is, we'll find him. If he's good enough, he'll be a part of the Great Wall of Tyler or whatever they're calling it now.
John Schroeder with The Athletic. For Will, you talked the other day about finding out how much these guys love football. With this particular player, how did you find out that that did check the box and that he does love football?
Well, you get it from the school. You see it on the tape, number one. Okay, and then you get it from the school, the people that have experienced him. Then our scouts spend individual time with him. Then we saw him at the combine, spent time with him. And then we got him in here. And then you get him on the phone. And you find out more and more about, when we had the press conference the other day, it's about the people as well. And you found out just what type of determination he has, where he comes from, the thing that helps build your team. When you got a leader like Dak, you surround him with great players that have the same mentality. It gives us a shot, and this kid's got that.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Will, how much did you talk to his people at IMG Academy? That was one of those quote-unquote football factories and those kinds of things.
We talked to IMG Academy, where he's working out, where he went to school. You know, we went through all those things, and it was consistent about his work ethic, about his competitiveness, about how much of a dog he was, and you see it on tape. And again, it's just reaffirmed at every opportunity you get to talk to people about him. There's no wavering on it. So there's a consistency about who this guy is.
For Shadi, Booker mentioned that you were playing Whitney Houston during the 30 visit. Did you have a feeling that this was going to be your guy?
When I saw that came out, I don't remember exactly what we were doing. We weren't dancing, that's for damn sure. Although I did see him when he ran out onto the stage, he had some good moves. So that shows the athleticism. But I'm a big music guy. It was early in the morning, and I was getting us both to wake up a little bit.
Nick Harris, Forward Star Telegram. First one's for Brian. You said in Florida that no jobs are being given out on this team. Tyler Booker, is it as easy as throwing him in the right guard competition, or is this kind of a call to the entire offensive line that things could be changed?
Yeah, you know, our motto is compete every day, and that doesn't matter whether you're Dak Prescott, Micah Parsons, it doesn't matter. But when you see the traits that this young man has, he's going to come in, he's going to compete for it, and from every stop, playing in high school, going to IMG, going to Alabama, he's always found his way into the starting lineup. And again, I'm not just excited about the player, I'm extremely excited about the person.
Pro football, you have to make a decision when you're paying them how they're going to compete for the spot. So when you make a commitment of a first-round pick, or you make a commitment of a certain salary, you do want competition, okay? But you're betting the house that you've got your winner in any kind of competition out there. Just logic.
And then for Jerry or Steven, Jerry, the other day you mentioned that there are some trade possibilities that you guys could be working on before or after the draft. How much do those factor into your draft thinking throughout the weekend?
This one didn't affect our position on the possibility of a trade. That's the best way to answer it.
It's well said. Can't hear me.
Tommy.
Tommy Yarsh, DallasCowboys.com. For anybody, we can look at how the rest of the first round fell. How do you feel like your position going into day two? Do you feel like there are guys in certain positions that you like on the board still available for you? And if so, where do you kind of feel going into the second round?
There's good football players all over the board still, and that's why you have the draft, and you were going through. And the best part of the way the draft is set up now, you got another day to get ready ahead of time and go through your strategy and go and look at things like that. But there's a lot of good football players there, and we have needs, and there's players that can fill it.
We have more than 12 players that would be worthy of that pick. And we're 12 back, so we should get a good player.
Back to Nick.
Are you guys surprised by some of the talents that are still available on the board?
It's a draft. I mean, everybody has their board. I know you guys follow mock drafts and grade drafts afterward before they play, but everybody's got their own board. They've done their homework, and they've got it a different way. So, and this is a unique draft from a standpoint of there's typically 4 or 5 quarterbacks that people are fighting for. There's typically 6 or 7 receivers. There's typically corners, and there isn't that much depth early in the top. So there's a lot of good players that's going to be kind of sprinkled out throughout the draft. It'll be an interesting rest of the draft.
Yeah, and the only thing I would add to that, Will, is that you and I, we all talk about it, as you go through the draft, you get later, the second round, the third round, opinions go like that. So, the first round, I would say, for the most part, people know who's going to go in that first round. But once you start going second, third, fourth, it branches out. So we feel really good about going forward that we'll get players that we've really scouted and feel good about. And, we've got 9 picks left, and we look forward to picking them.
Dixon with the AP. Steven, David mentioned it earlier, 3 offensive linemen in the first round in 4 years, which is a replay of 2011 to 14. Back when it felt like back then you all were kind of rebuilding the offensive line. Is that where you feel like you are now, just kind of trying to build it back to one of those elite units like it was, as Jerry mentioned, through sort of the mid-2010s?
Yeah, I think you look at, what we're doing here. I mean, we just had 2 Hall of Fame offensive linemen retire within a month, I think, between Tyron Smith and Zach Martin, and they were a big part of that. And then you look at our division, and you got to start with beating the guys in your division and win it. And, there's some really elite interior defensive linemen in our division, and we do want to build that offensive line. And I think that is a part of it, and I think we've taken a big step toward doing that. I mean, we're thrilled with our first-round pick we made last year in Tyler Guyton there on the left side, and obviously we think a lot of steel, and we've sure shored up the interior, as Shotty said. So, I just feel like, we're taking that journey now, and I think it all starts right there. And as Jerry said, you want to protect the guy, who's the most expensive guy in the league, and you want to compliment CD and what we're doing with him. So, I think all this helps it all come together.
Along those same lines, if you look back at prime time when we had the apex of these top number 1 picks that we've had, our ability to pay them on their second contracts so that you can retain that there. If you look at that, you may disagree with me, but I feel we were hanging around the rim. We were knocking at the door. We had, behind that, we had rookie 4th-round quarterback, make all rookie. We had running backs for playing well. And it gave us a team that we would think it wouldn't be bad to be right there. Again, obviously better because we didn't get to the playoffs where we wanted to be and we didn't get the Super Bowl, but we got there. We had top team there. With the makeup that we have on our team and the players we've got right now, this is a very good way to try to get something big time done in the next 2 or 3 years. This makes a lot of sense time-wise.
Saad.
Saad Yusuf, The Athletic. Jerry, you mentioned Dak being the highest paid player. I think you've mentioned that a few times over the past 8 months. Just how much does that contract kind of shape the approach that you guys take to building the organization and adding pieces around him?
Oh, it was a part of the commitment. When thinking about the commitment before it was done, thinking about the commitment and thinking about that as we found out, that doesn't help us making him the highest paid player if he's not on the football field, and so you got to protect him, and you got to have a plan or a offense that gives him some protection as you look ahead to some degree. Really, you do. All of that went into the thinking before we made the extension contract with him, not after, before. Okay, how are we going to handle this thing with it? And of course, Shotty, one of the reasons he's the head coach, he believes in that we can run the ball a little more. And he's going to believe in a couple of things that are Dak friendly on in terms of how to operate, and a big point of that will be protection for Dak to some degree. All of that is a part of it. But these things, you got to go from where you are, not where you wish you were. And this is a pretty nice direct point to get to where we want to be competition-wise by going with this offensive lineman.
Brian, you hired an offensive line coach as the offensive coordinator. I mean, just how much emphasis is your approach to the offense to really make sure the offensive line is performing at a high level?
Well, I think, after the turnover battle, I think the number one way you win football games in this league is you own the line of scrimmage. And so that's not just on offense, it's on defense as well. And you saw us make some moves in the offseason free agency to fill some holes on defense. There's going to be a commitment to playing physical on both sides of the line of scrimmage. And this young man comes in extremely powerful. He's a mauler. And then, again, having guys like Clayton, Connor Riley, to help develop him and to develop the entire unit, whether it's Tyler Guyton, whether it's Cooper Beebe, Terrence Steele, all the guys. There's going to be a commitment to us owning the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, and that was part of the process of the hiring process for sure.
Garrett.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. Ryan, I'm curious, your first-round pick the last couple of years in for Jerry and Steven has been an offensive lineman who you've moved from the opposite side of the ball in which they played in college. Kind of what goes into that, and why do you feel confident in being able to successfully transition Tyler Booker?
Yeah, I think it's something that's a little bit of a learning curve, but they can do it. All these guys cross-train at some point in their time at practice, because it's such a fluid thing. You have to be ready to move pieces around, and so the ability to move him around is something we don't have any concerns about. He's a damn good football player, and is there a little bit of a learning curve where they have to learn their stance and sets and things like that? Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's football, and you go one way really, really fast, and if somebody gets in your way, you knock the shit out of them.
Tyron Smith, right tackle. Could he go to the left? What are you talking about?
Hall of Fame.
Yeah. So I would say that I don't even know that I am thinking about which side of the line he was playing on, to tell you the truth, Coach, as far as left or right. I'm not trying to demean your question, but I'm just saying this guy now maybe out a little farther out, the boy inside. You put him in there with that big BB, and you put him in there with Tyler, and we might be able to tush push. Yeah.
Jeff Cole with Fox 4. Brian, you spoke Tuesday about your enjoyment of this first draft process as the head coach, enjoying even the disagreements and arriving at the conviction about the plan. What was the feeling for you when you went on the clock tonight, and what is the moment from the war room you think you'll remember most?
I think Jerry or Steven spoke to it. Maybe it was Will. I mean, like the exercise that we did yesterday, some of the mock drafts and the things that we talked through, like we really, it was very calm in there. We had talked through a lot of these scenarios. We had a bunch of the discussions. Obviously, you're always going to listen to people when they call and see if there's things you want to do. But I just thought we felt very prepared, which makes you feel very confident. And as we discussed the different scenarios, it was pretty clear for us that we had the right guy.
Sydney.
Sydney Staples, D210 Sports. For Jerry, what was the conversation like with the parents? I know that you love talking to mamas, so what did you get to say to her?
Did you know that, now I'm going to speak to the one tonight, and it was, he was so, he just was so excited about joining the team being the offensive line. And he was just so aware of what our situation is. And it was just like you were sitting there talking to Tyler Smith. He felt like he'd just been here that long. And we had a good visit. I did not get to visit with his mom and family when he visited. I did not, but it was a good conversation we had with him tonight.
Clarence.
Two things. I forgot one of them, but
First, I need to have a drink.
I know.
We got the same problem. We got the same problem.
First of all, I got it back. Any consideration to moving Tyler Smith to left tackle?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, we're going to play our best five. But right now, we have all the confidence in the world that Tyler Guyton, going into year two, is going to take the steps that most young players take. And so, but at the end of the day, we're going to play our best five guys on offense. Our best 11 are going to play, and that's the football team. And again, like, it's not just a word. You have to compete every day to get better, and you have to compete every day to show your teammates that it's important to you. And again, we talk all the time. We want world-class competitors. And when you add a guy like this, Tyler Booker, that is a world-class competitor, he makes everybody around him better with the way he practices, the way he talks, his confidence. And as a coach, that gets you really excited.
And piggybacking on that, you went offensive line heavy in free agency with, I think, 4 additions, 2 specific guards, and the other guys that can play guard. Yet you still went guard here. And just can you talk about how you didn't let what you did in free agency, even though you tried to show up the position, deter you from adding to that same spot in the draft?
Yeah, you're always looking to add valuable pieces. You guys know how I feel about Brock Hoffman, Rob Jones, a really good football player. It's a physical, violent position that these guys play. You can never have enough. We've all had the growing pains and the different rotations and things like that. So, again, I think it's one of those positions, it's a high-value position where you need guys that have flexibility and they can play different spots. And, again, you don't know how bad you need the position until you don't have it. And the obvious thing that everybody's talked about. I mean, you're in a division with Jalen Carter and Dexter Lawrence and some really, really good football players. And so those are matchups that we look forward to.
Let me give you another point to look at here. Tyler Guyton. And then look at the draft. We evaluate the college. Look at the draft. What do you think the best odds are that Tyler Guyton will have a sophomore year better than his freshman year? What do you think the odds are that he'll be able to have discipline on pre-snap penalties? What do you think those odds are as opposed to drafting a number 1 pick in the draft? There's just as good odds, and the facts are we don't know any of this. Only the man upstairs knows about what those injuries are going to be or what they're doing. This isn't a widow's pension plan we're trying to build here. This is things got risk all over it. So it's weighing which gives you the best chance for the risk. And love opinions. We've got opinions. But do you think any of us really know whether or not Tyler Guyton's going to get hurt or whether or not we're going to have? Of course we don't. But you weigh your odds. This gives us some better, good odds that we're going to have the kind of offensive line that we thought we were going to have last year. And we didn't think at all what would happen to us last year happened to us. So we're trying to learn from our own experiences, and that influenced this pick.
Patrick Walker, Dallas Cowboys.com. For Will and Shadi. Will, earlier this offseason, you spoke about the alignment, trying to build the alignment between the front office scouting department and the coaching staff. And Shadi, you talked a lot about culture building. When you look at, not sure if you saw, but Booker had a live stream with Micah Parsons, and in the process of discussing his playing demeanor, Micah Parsons got so excited he almost jumped out of the chair with excitement. What does that mean to you guys to see a cornerstone player get that excited about any player you bring in, let alone the first round?
Shadi?
I actually did see it as I was walking over here. It gets you excited, man. Like, you know, this is a special team we're trying to build and special culture. So Micah realizes what good offensive linemen do. He goes against them every week, some of the best in the business. And so I think that when you see things like that, and that's just the beginning. I mean, we're not done. We're not done adding pieces like that. The character matters and the talent matters. And so as a coach, you get excited seeing stuff like that.
Competition brings out, we've always said this, competition brings out the best in everybody, and either they don't play the same position, but they're competing. Hey, offense is going to be competing against defense, and competitors love competitors, and they sense that and they feel that. If you build a team in a locker room full of it, you're going to be a competitive team all the way through. That's part of our objectives, to find good players, but also competitive people that love football.
Tommy.
For Will and Brian, I think Connor Riley played against Tyler Booker his freshman or sophomore season when he was at Kansas State in the Sugar Bowl. What was his kind of 2 cents on what he saw from him on film and how you guys can use him up front?
I mean, we went through and worked him out and went through all the steps to figure out that he could do everything we needed him to do as an offensive lineman for us as a guard. I mean, it's all there on tape. But he can do it all.
Yeah, I remember just him talking about the power, the lower body strength, the length, the power, the play style. Those were the words I remember him talking about and how they jumped off the film at Bama.
Mike.
Mike Leslie, WFA. For Brian, when we talked with Tyler earlier today, he was pretty definitive, pretty confident when asked what he would say to people that doubt him or that maybe question this pick. He said, hey, flip on the tape. I was dominant for 3 years in Alabama. I'm wondering, what is your read on the confidence he has in himself, and how do you factor that into your evaluation of a player that you're looking at? How important is that gumption, I guess, when you look at whether or not you want to bring a player into your team?
I think when you talk about competitors, you look for guys that have chips on their shoulder, guys that have had to go through maybe hard times and bounce back from that. I think you look at a guy that was at Connecticut, gets a chance to go to IMG, performs very well down there. All of a sudden he's in a recruiting battle and he ends up going to Alabama. Why? He wants to go play football against the best, with the best, and you love that about him. And again, the process, the wiring matters. The wiring of the individual. There's going to be tough times. He's going to lose a matchup or two. That's playing football. That's the sport. And so guys that are wired the right way and kind of carry themselves with that chip on their shoulder, those are some of the best players I've ever been around as a coach. And you love to coach them because you can challenge them every day, and you can push them every day to be better. And they want it. They ask for it. And you know, that's a special trait that not every player in the league has.
We had, our guy said the safe, he used that word safe as a pick. I bet I heard it 20 times talking about safe, okay, about what might not be there that you would want to be there. And the word was safe. The word safe in having an offensive line is so important, because when you have inconsistent availability, or you have inconsistent reliability relative to your discipline, the word safe in an offensive line is a big deal. And that was the pick right there on it. The others have it going. So if we simply can line up and not give back more of the yards than we're making this coming year, we will be well down the road on having a lot more wins. And our offensive line did need addressing. Now you say dressing from within, yes, but this gives us a without touch to it too. The other thing, Will, that I heard that I did not hear that much any place was what a leader he is, a real leader, and just an active, real leader. The emphasis.
Yeah, I mean, he took great pride in that in the offensive line in Alabama, wanting to be the leader with all those guys around him. And guys who want to be leaders, they take it upon themselves. They got to do it the right way, and then guys will follow. And so as a young player doing that, even though he's not a leader, we feel like he can be a leader amongst the group just by how he works and what he does. And that was a strong part of, the evaluation of him as well.
Kevin Sherrington, Dallas Morning News. Will, there is certainly a perception that there was a need at wide receiver for y'all going into this draft. It's also a perception that there's not a lot of maybe walk-in starters at that position in this draft. Are you still confident that y'all can find somebody like that?
Yeah, I mean, there's good football players there. That's why we go through the process of looking at all their talents and their skill sets. We go through it with the coaches, and there's traits that we're looking for. And then that's why we have great coaches to develop those as well. So there's players that come in this league from all different parts of the draft. We have to do our job well to identify those, and I still feel good that there's opportunities there, and it doesn't end. Steven says it's player acquisitions 24/7, 365.
All right. Alrighty, thanks, Scott. See you tomorrow night.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!